Move to resume consideration of the national budget, particularly the DND. We left off with the DND late this morning. To please recognize, I move to recognize, Mr. President, our distinguished sponsor, Senator Ping Lacson, and to propound some questions, the distinguished Senator from Ilocos Norte, Senator Imee Marcos.
Senator Lacson, sponsor of the budget of the Department of National Defense, has the floor. Senator Imee Marcos is recognized.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for our good Chairman Ping Lacson for taking a number of questions. They are not actually in form of inquiry, but more properly, requests for information and a manifestation. Firstly, Republic Act 7898 was enacted into law in 1995, clearly to modernize all segments of our armed forces. The program has 5 components, and perhaps this representation would like to inquire or ask for the list per heading of force restructuring and organization, capability, material and technology basis, human resource and doctrines development. Kung pwede lang po makahingi nung breakdown ng iba't ibang amounts appropriated, released, and otherwise implemented for each of these 5 components po.
We will submit the documents, but these are classified documents, so
Well,
we will directly submit it to you, Madam.
I understand. And if necessary,
Yes.
they can just be outlined. We'd be grateful. Given the glacial pace of modernization in our armed forces, it's of interest to all of us that we have some idea, at least, of what's been going on.
Is it okay if we just provide you a copy?
Yes, please. Yes, this is a mere request for information po.
Thank you.
The other issue, of course, has been, as already discussed by Senator Lacson as well as Senator Drilon, regarding the various measures, the issues surrounding the indexation of pension for the uniformed services, clearly showing that, in fact, we are spending twice as much for the existing standing armies as well as navies. So may I inquire if there's been a study or a projection of the actual amounts required? There seems to be a level of fear factor here from our brave and courageous soldiers. We still have not seen an actual projection of amounts as well as possible scheduling for such. May we request also
As a
from
matter
the
of
chairman?
fact, there is a projection up to 2029.
Oh, I see.
And we'll
I
be
see.
glad to
If
give
you could
you a
share
copy.
it with
Yes.
us. We are convinced that there is more than enough fiscal space to accommodate at least the beginning of this indexation, and that we effect it as soon as possible. Further, I would like to inquire regarding the updates on the Kalayaan group of islands. I think it's familiar to all of us that the Secretary of Defense indicated during the launching of new material that there should be improved infrastructure and basic services for both the military and civilian groups already posted there. It is no secret that 1% of our GNP is given to our DND, clearly the lowest percentage in all of ASEAN. So we are curious if there are any further updates or improvements visible in the Kalayaan Islands of the present.
The improvement is ongoing. It is a continuing effort on the part of the AFP. So as we speak, the construction, the improvement of the facilities, it's ongoing, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We would like to request, since so far what's only been available have been news reports, which may or may not be accurate. So we would be grateful for that as well. So that's a further request for information. I think a matter of concern, since the Anti-Terrorism Act is up for discussion and debate, I would also like to inquire regarding the cyber capacity of our AFP. I think we have discussed repeatedly the impact of the Yun Clause and the opening of our waterways and inter-island waterways as well. Given the lack of resources and the budget, what is our actual cyber capacity? I'm aware that there is no capital component in our budget for the AFP Cyber Group. Right now, all I see are MOOE, deriving from 2019, a paltry 4 million, and then 14 million recommended for the 2020 budget. Zero yung capital outlay po. Paano natin mai-improve yan? Alam natin na bakanteng building lang yan, isang gusaling nakatayo, wala man lang iisang equipment.
Yes, Mr. President, there's a 4-year development plan, as you probably know already, that started last year, 2018, to end in 2021. And the improvement of the cyber security capability of the AFP is included in the 25 billion peso AFP modernization plan. It's already incorporated.
So it's incorporated. So we
That
are
is
not
correct.
to be alarmed that in fact there is no amount for equipment and other capital expenses? Because right now I only see the MOOE po.
For this year, there's 2.19 billion
That's,
for this year.
That's only for the cybersecurity
That's for
equipment.
2019. Yes, that is correct. Yeah, under the AFP modernization program.
What do we have for 2020?
Meron sa 2020.
Right now in the NEP, what we only see are, well, there's an MOE of 14 million as well as a capital outlay of 900 million. Is that correct?
5 billion yung for 2020. Sa AFP modernization. It's under unprogrammed fund. No?
Oh, it's merely unprogrammed.
Yes.
So right now, the only amounts programmed are capital for 900 million and 14 million. That's the
that is
only
correct.
secure amount.
Yes.
So perhaps a further emphasis, once again, as yesterday, the good chairman shared with us our sense that there is indeed a great deal of fiscal space. Perhaps we can review this and move from unprogrammed to programmed expenses that are clearly essential to national security.
Yeah, 14 million. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think that's the 14 million,
14 million,
that's
yeah.
in the MOE, and it
Yes.
seems to be a paltry sum given the threats that we are facing. Okay, and I think the other matter of concern was an item that we see in the VMMC total budget, and we're alarmed by the fact that there is a negative movement, a decrease of 11% or 211 million in the Veterans Memorial Hospital's budget under 2020, given the observation of the AFP that there will no doubt be a significant increase in the patient census. How do we seek to provide for this increase, given that DBM and the other authorities have reduced the
The
amount?
appropriation is not a recurring appropriation. In fact, we just augmented the budget of BMMC for this year when we deliberated on their budget last year to provide for the difference or the increase in the price of medicines. And they requested us to provide them augmentation for that purpose. So it's not recurring. So that's probably the reason why there's a dip.
There's a decrease, yes. In any case, the decrease will probably once again fail to address the increase in the patients forthcoming. So may I merely manifest, in addition to the request for different parts and bits of information, may I merely request, therefore, and manifest.
Negative 11. Tama.
Yes.
Hindi kasi recurring eh.
That's right. It's not a recurring, it was a one-off
Yes.
decision to allocate.
but we'll be more than willing if you would introduce an amendment to fill up the negative 11%.
Yes.
That would be most welcome.
Yes,
Madam.
thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for your support. I'd like to manifest my personal concern that we continue to invest very, very little in our national defense, and it is important that we augment our budget for defense, whether for cyber, whether for the hospitals, whether for modernization, and finally, that AFP transformation roadmap we've heard about so frequently and yet fail at this glacial pace to effect. Thank you very much.
Yeah. For your information, we, under Subcommittee C, we already recommended another 100 million for BMMC, which has been adopted by the Mother Committee, the Finance Committee. So there will be an additional 100 million for BMMC, assuming that it won't be scrapped in the BICAM. But it's in the Senate version already.
Okay, thank you very much, but it's still not commensurate to the 11%
We
because
know.
that's over 200 million. But hopefully that's a good start, given that yourself, Senator Recto, as well as Senator Drilon, have carved out many fiscal possibilities in this budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.